Hi, I'm Matt from Secco Wine Club and Paolo 61 Wines.
I am Piergiorgio Castellani from Castellani Winery, Tuscany, Italy.
You ever wonder why there's so many sugar and carbs in your wine? You ever wonder why we don't have sugar and carbs in our wine? We're going to go into detail with that today. Is there anything in particular that people can look for in wine to say, okay, that wine's not going to be good for me? Or is there any way of knowing, like the bottles you pick on the shelf?
Unfortunately not.
No.
The only one information that is mandatory on the back label is the alcohol content and if the wine contains sulfites. But mostly you don't have nutritional facts that, for example, are on most of the food that you can buy in a supermarket. I think people want to know. The people are ready to learn. The people want to be educated.
Absolutely.
Other way is like this morning I woke up, 6 o'clock, I have a fantastic donut, super sweet, a lot of sugar, was nice early morning, but then when I want to drink a wine, I want to drink something different. I don't want to have a donut inside a bottle of wine.
Right.
And you know, sugar is fantastic. It's good. When we born, the mother milk is sweet, so it's our imprinting. But then wine is different. People want to be educated. People want to understand what does mean acidity, what does mean tannicity of the wine. Want to feel the the natural viscosity that you have in wine, naturally coming from the fermentation and the aging of the wine. I don't want flavoring in the wine. I want to feel the flavor of all of these fantastic process that exists since more than, 4,000 years. That goes back to the Egyptians and to the Mesopotamians. They were drinking wine, maybe in a different way, but all of this history need to bring to a certain respect for a kind of food that is healthy. Wine is an healthy food.
Yeah, that's one we always talk about is, we've always strived for a wine that creates more of a social dynamic, right? It brings families together. It's not something that people are looking to get drunk off of. It's not something people are looking to party off of. They're looking to basically share conversation, have a glass of wine with their family, and really just kind of reconnect, right? Because we're so connected right now with every single electronic equipment out there. Building everything back down to basics of just family and friends and just sharing a nice glass of wine is really, it's been the focus for us, for Secco Wine Club and Paolo 61, is to just have a nice clean glass of wine and not have the worries of the next day of, and that guilt that a lot of people have now with wine because of all the toxins, of all the chemicals, of all the sugar that they're basically finding inside of their wine that they didn't know about before. So, when you look at where Secco Wine Club started, it really was an attack on chemicals, really looking for, that source of dry farm wines. But really our public enemy number one was sugar, right? And how much sugar was being forced into wines and the sugar levels that were unknown for consumers that were in wine, because sugar drives a lot of things, from obviously a lot of issues with obesity, disease, feeling bad, carbs, right? It's a big point for a lot of people today in their lifestyle diets. And one of the things we always pull out into a lot of our wine tastings, this cute little homemade bottle we put together that kind of represent the chemicals and really, the average of 20, 25 grams of sugar that we're finding in a lot of the wines on the market. So can you explain to us really, the natural process of sugar in wine? Like, how is there sugar in wine? And then obviously knowing that chapatization, the force of sugar inside of wine is illegal. Mm-hmm. How are people getting around chapatization? How are the sugar levels and carb levels of wine increasing dramatically in today's wine market?
Yes, as I told you before, every wine born as a fantastic, sweet, great choice then and is grape juice. So I have nothing against the sugar. If you want to drink a very sweet grape juice, drink a grape juice. But if you want to drink a wine, is another thing. A wine is obtained through a process, the fermentation, where the bacteria and the yeast that are naturally inside the grape juice start eating the sugar and transform the sugar in alcohol. The alcohol content depends by the sugar content in the grape. This is why the ripeness of the grape is based on how much sugar is concentrated in the grape, in the fruit. As much sugar you have in the fruit, as much alcohol you will obtain through the fermentation. It's a very simple, natural process. When a wine is ready, is fermented, is because all or most of the sugar has been transformed in alcohol. You still have a little bit of sugar remain in the wine that naturally is not transformed. It can be 1, 2, up to 3 grams of natural sugar coming from the grape that for some reason is not transformed by the bacteria and the yeast. But we normally consider a wine that have below 3 grams of residual sugar a Secco, a dry wine. Sugar is addicting, and sugar is everywhere in the food, especially in modern time. So most of the people have a positive instinctual reaction to the sugar flavor. I repeat, I have nothing to do against this. But if you want, there are so many sweet drinks in the market. If you want to drink sweet, there are so many things that you can buy. When you buy a wine, you normally are looking for something dry that do not contain sugar. But there are a whole industry that for making the wine pleasant and accepted by the people that love sugar, add sugar to the wine after the fermentation process. And this means that you are making something that is totally unnatural. And because it's unnatural, you have to stabilize the wine with chemicals. So you just not add to the wine something that naturally would not be in the wine, but you also need to use chemical additive to the wine that stabilize the wine, that mean kill all of the possible life you have in the wine in terms of bacteria and yeast. And my doubt is that if you use this chemical to kill the life in the wine and you drink the wine, you risk to kill the life in your body, because our body is based on an equilibrium of bacteria that maintain the equilibrium of our stomach, of our system, of our intestine. So if you drink something or eat something that contains antibacterial, in this case to stabilize the wine that contain added sugar, you risk to drink or to eat something that destroy the life in your body. And in my opinion, this is worse, even worse than the risk connected with the sugar.